And good morning and welcome to the Coach's Corner Football Show with Coach John Reutebuch. I am Nathan Lambert, and not alongside me is Riley Price as he is on a flight overseas to Europe.
Wow.
So, Coach, big game last night, going and traveling to Mishawaka, tough game. The Warriors ended up coming out with a loss there, but take us to the pregame there, because, going up there, I didn't hit any rain, or it was kind of sprinkling here and there, and then by the time I got there, the rain was there.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be raining. That was in the forecast, and of course it was scheduled to come in right when the game was supposed to be getting ready to start. So we were actually pretty lucky. It wasn't all out lightning, thunder kind of deal. It was more just that constant misty kind of rain and all that stuff. So, there was a couple times it was pretty much a deluge out there, that there was a lot of water coming down and things like that. But, that's football weather.
Well, and we were talking right before we started our program this morning. It was funny in my mind. Riley and I were talking about it. Against Warsaw, the IHSAA commissioner in his commissioner's corner that we play said, yeah, we've had, just absolutely brilliant weather all this year. And
should have never said that.
And then after that game, the next two games in a row have been kind of,
Yeah.
Not so great weather, we'll put it.
And we might even have the same weather again next Friday. I mean, that's it's a long-range prediction, and anything outside of about 20, they're hoping, but that they're correct on their prediction. But the long-range forecast is another rainy Friday night.
So let's go into the first half here, and let's talk about, how the boys were feeling before the game, maybe before the kickoff.
It's hard to tell what they're feeling. I don't know that we had the same energy coming out of the locker room as we've had in the past, 3 or 4 games. We had some guys missing, some guys that were injured, and some guys that were, for disciplinary reasons, sitting out the first quarter, first half, and it showed. We had some kids out there making their debut on the varsity field. Jaden Stahl would be one at safety, did a pretty respectable job out there. Devin Sewell at linebacker.
And I got to give a little shout-out to Sewell. I called him and Peyton Sewell, all night long. They were in tackle after tackle after tackle.
Yeah, it's, we went from the Kelly brothers to the Sewell brothers. and so, he did a nice job. And, we had a couple other guys that rotated in at, like DB and things like that. But those were two that had to kind of step up there. Then Addison Hatfield at center was another one that made his debut. And so we had three guys that had been playing JV all season making their debut last night against the vaunted Mishawaka.
At number one in the conference, too.
Yeah, conference champ. We can say that now. And they're big. They're really big. I mean, they're bigger than any team we face by far. And they're good at what they do. I mean, they've had the same system since Bart was there, and now at Warsaw. And they're really, really good at what they do. And it's a difficult offense to stop. And probably underestimated is their defense. They swarm to the football. They are fast reactors. And
another team with a really good defensive line as well.
Yeah, they're very active, especially number 40. He was all over us all night long. It looks like there's things there and holes there, and you throw a pass or you get a run, and then it closes up real fast. And so, they're a quality football team, well coached, and they have some good players.
So, Coach, we now know how the players felt before the game, and you always try to amp up the players or at least get them ready for game time. And I would say, walking down to the field, there's a little bit of nerves there, especially, when we were going through the starters list. I was like, man, there's some new names on this list. But I feel like after that coin flip, the team came together and they looked the part. Talk me through that first offensive possession.
Well, we won the toss, and so typically we take the ball. And there wasn't any major advantage, wind-wise or anything like that. So we took the ball, and they blooped it, which when they showed that formation where they kick from the middle and they have 6x4, that's typically what they did. And so that was in the scouting report that that's what they do. And Dallas Miller, caught it and got a few yards. Thought the whistle stopped a little soon because the pile was pushing, and he got about 7 more yards. But the ball's at 37, which is good field position, and we came out with a pass and get a couple yards, and then we ran a couple yards. And then in the game plan, we knew that they were highly aggressive, so we wanted to draw them off sides, and so we went on 2, and we were the ones that jumped. And so, that's unfortunate.
And that's one thing that this team has really excelled at this year. I mean, the hard count has worked, time and time again.
Yeah, it's got us a lot of first downs, and that's just lack of focus and concentration. We just had one guy jumping, and we had him because they were coming across. So then, now we're behind the sticks quite a bit. It's 3rd and 11, and Shoemaker scrambles for 7 yards, and we got a punt on our first possession. We had
and he took a shot at the end of that play too. I mean, he really, gave it his all to get to that first down marker.
Yeah, they're super aggressive, and they're going to hit you when they come downhill. So we punt away, and they methodically marched down the field and scored on their first drive, and it's 7-0. Right off the bat, first possessions, and they're on top. So they kick off to us again, same formation, same idea, and they bloop kick to us, and we drop it. We just kind of fumble it around. And, again, we got a younger guy in there because of some injuries and some guys moving around, and instead of focusing on just catching the ball, he's trying to maneuver it around, and we fumble the ball, and they get the ball to 29, which the last thing in the world you want to do is
give an offense like that just
short field.
Took 6 minutes off the clock.
Yeah, short field. And so they score in 5 plays, and after 2 possessions, we've had 1 possession offensively, they've had 2, and it's already 14-0. And so we're reeling a little bit. Okay, we're okay. We got to get this back. And they kick off to us again. Same formation, same deal. We flipped a guy over to try to take advantage of experience in that situation, and catches the ball fine. And he's trying to make a cut, and he slips, and the ball gets knocked out. So now we're fumbling the ball again. And so they get the ball this time on the 31, which is, again, another short field.
Not good spot to be in on your defense either.
You can't do that to a team like that. I mean, that's just, you're just digging a hole.
It's kind of like, the old saying, don't put any blood in the water with a shark. They're a shark over there, and they smell the blood.
Definitely. And they scored in 3 plays. So, 3 possessions, 21-0. We've had 1 offensive possession.
And I believe we're late into the first quarter, like 2 minutes to go in the first quarter or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. There's a couple more things to happen, but that's most of the first quarter. And so right off the bat, we're down. Unfortunate events, and they took advantage of it. And, we weren't stopping it. We weren't rising to the occasion at that point. Then they kick off to us again, and fortunately for us, they kicked it out of bounds. And so we started that drive at the 35. And this one was, kind of a good drive. We had a run for 1 yard, then we scrambled for 8 yards, and then we had a run for 4 yards for first down. Donovan Blair runs the ball hard. And that's the quarter. That's it.
That's
a possession and a half, and they've had 3 possessions, and the score is 21-0. So couldn't start any worse.
It's not. I would say it's on par with the Concord game of just anything that could go wrong did.
Yeah, I would equate it with that. So second quarter, first down, and we have a completion for 7 yards. We have a run that is tackle for a loss. So now we're behind the sticks again, and Coach O made a nice call on a screen play. 3rd and 10, and we get 12 yards, so there's a first down again. And then we have a run play where in the exchange, the aforementioned number 40 just took it right out of our running back's hands, just ripped it right out of his hands, and so that's a fumble, and they get the ball in the 49. So, again, the 49 is not as close, but it's really good field position, so we're giving them another short field.
And one thing on that play too, Tinky was coming across on a motion, and that was kind of a fake. And I don't think even without that fake motion that 40 does not get that football. I mean, he was in the backfield quick all night long.
Yeah. And so there's the lineup had changed up front, and they're super quick, and somebody missed their assignment, and he was right there. I mean, in a heartbeat. And so they have the ball, and they score in 7 plays, and it's 28-0. So they've scored on all 4 of their first 4 possessions, and not looking good for the Warriors at that point.
And one thing that Coach O told me, and I was able to look at film this week for Mishawaka, is when they get right to that precipice of the 35 points, their foot is on the gas. They want to reach that number.
Yeah, they want to put you in running clock mode, and we've seen that on film. And so we were in that point. We were getting to that point, and so they kick off to us, and they change your strategy. Now they're going to the onside. I don't know if you could see up top how they set the ball up. But
we were talking about that because we were wondering if it was an onside or just a new kicking style, because that first one went like 20 yards, and we're like, well, wait a minute.
No, he sets the ball on the tee sideways. And so the idea is you're going to kick it, and that first one came out like a helicopter. It was spinning side to side, but it is just another way of kicking the ball off to make it difficult to handle because of the weather conditions. If it was me, I would have kept blooping and make us handle it. But
make you look up into the rain and the wind.
But who knows? They might want to practice different types of kicks, and they have a good kicker. He's pretty solid, and not only at kicking off, but also place kicking. So,
and we were talking on air last night. This is the, I believe, 5th kicker in a row that kind of has taken Hunter and Bontrager away from the Warriors on that as a weapon.
Yeah, the first 3 that you're speaking of put it in the end zone.
Yeah,
you got no chance there, and then they were not going to let those guys be a part of the game either. And so that's where the bloop and the I'd call surprise onside. It's different than a regular onside because you're not sure if that what they're doing, but the way they set the ball up on the tee, it was pretty obvious that there was a specialty kick coming, and you can't get that kind of a ball in the air when it's laying sideways like that. So kind of knew it was coming, and we get the ball at the 40-yard line. That's the thing. When you kick a short kick like that, you're giving up field position. So we got really good field position. In the very first play, we take sack. And again, you can't do that.
And we've talked. It's so hard on offense as to begin with, and then to kind of be behind the sticks, it just kind of makes everything more difficult.
I don't care what offense you're in. If you're behind the sticks, it makes it very, very difficult. Had a couple incompletions, and we're punting again already. 3 and out, and we got to sustain drives. They talk about the best defense is a good offense. Well, we weren't doing that very well because it was 3 and out. So we have to punt, and a good punt. Decent putt, and then they score in 6 plays. It's 35-0, and so they have scored in their first 5 possessions, and it's on. They kick off again, same concept. We get the ball at the 37-yard line. We try to run the ball, -6, incomplete, and then we got a penalty on top of that, so we're really backed up behind the sticks. And we get a short completion, and then we're putting the ball away again. And so, quick in and out, and giving them back the ball.
And now your defense, which has a number of key players missing, is back on the field trying to stop this juggernaut of an offense.
Yeah, and we didn't do a very good job of that either. So they scored 9 plays. This time they missed the extra point, and it's 41-0. And they've scored on every possession in the first half. And we're reeling at that point and trying to, come up with something to get us to halftime so we can regroup and come back in the second half. They kick off, and again, same strategy, the sideways football on the tee. And then so we get the ball to 46. Again, great field position, and we start getting something going here. Now we're starting to wake up a little bit. Pass for 4 yards, incomplete. Then we have another screen. It goes for 25 to Tinky. Another incomplete. Then we complete one for 12. I believe that was Donovan Blair. And then we have like 6 seconds before halftime, and we have a bad snap. And so that was kind of I don't want to say fitting end, but that was something that showed our performance in the first half was not good. So we go into halftime 41-0, and it's time to regroup.
So, what do you say to your team then? Is it just kind of like hey, this first half has gone terrible? It kind of we talked about it after the Concord game. Did you basically say, hey, we got to flush that first half and we got to go play football? That's
exactly what you do. You talk about, you correct the things that need to be corrected, technique or fundamentally wise, and, you fix, things that went wrong as far as, blocking scheme or whatever. But the main thing is you got to forget about the score and you got to come out the second half and see what you're made of, okay? And, we're looking for guys that are playing hard even when the chips are down. And so that was our mantra at halftime, and the guys were up for the task, and so we came out the second half, and I think we did a better job in the second half. But that first half was something that we'd like to get rid of.
Well, that was our first half discussion about Wawasee's game against Mishawaka last night. When we come back, we will continue to talk about last night's game in the second half, and then a little bit later we will have Braden Pike and Cooper Garden come in as our weekly interviewers. This is the Coach's Corner Football Show on 93.7 FM, The Mix. Welcome back to the Coach's Corner Football Show with Coach John Reutebuch on 93.7 FM, The Mix. Now, Coach, we just talked about going into halftime down 41-0 and just kind of telling your team to you got to flush that first half and you got to come out and try to get some momentum because you got a big game coming up here next week, sectional round 1. Talk about how you felt your team responded in the third quarter.
Well, we came out and the kids were ready to play the second half and kind of fix the wrongs of the first half, and so we're kicking off, and I guess they expected us to onside to start off with because they had their hands team out there, and a good indicator is their quarterback is in the front line of the hands team, and so. That was not in our plan. It's the first kickoff of the game for us, and our plan was to kick it deep into the corners, and so that's what we did. So the way they were lined up was good for us, and we pinned them at the 20, and so that's a lot better chance
gives your defense a little bit of a breathing,
a little bit of breathing room, and of course, with the score as it is, it's running clock. So second half is going to fly by really fast, and so they brought out their a lot of replacements. So we were going against their replacements, and the very first play they fumble, something that they did not do in the first half. They had 0 turnovers. In a sloppy field like that, you think there's going to be a few missed exchanges, especially with the flex bone when there's a lot of ball handling, fakes and pulling and pitching and things like that. They did not. They had no issues whatsoever with the ball in the first half, but they fumbled the very first play, and one of our guests today, Braden Pike, pounced on it, recovered it. So we have a short field, and we have a nice pass play for 18 yards in the first play, and then Donovan Blair again comes in and runs the TD in, and
he's kind of like the Miley Cyrus, just comes in like a wrecking ball.
Yeah,
right?
He sure does. He runs the ball hard, and he runs the ball with leverage, and there's no hesitation. There's no juking or
he knows his goal is to get 2 to 3 yards. He's going to do that.
Yeah, he slams it in there, and that felt good. That felt good to get on the scoreboard and get something positive going. PAT is good. Dane Sigler was pushed into kicking with the injury to Reed early in the, I should say late in the first half. So we're down another guy. And we also had an injury to another one of our DBs, Lucas Linder. So he was out. So we're down 2 guys in the secondary, and so there's more guys that have to step up and come out and play. And so little shout out for Dane. Dane was hurt in the sectional soccer match They thought he fractured his foot and his ankle, not major fractures like hairline fractures, but I did not expect to see him back. And
I didn't either. I mean, he was walking in a walking boot not too long ago.
Yeah, and this week, he texted me and said, hey, I think I'm going to get cleared by the doctor. I'm ready to come back out. I'll see you at practice. And it was like, is he joking or is this for real?
Yeah.
But no, he was out of practice, and he was kicking. As a matter of fact, the first day he kicked about as well as he had kicked all year. And so maybe that little time off, helped him, his leg, rest a little bit, because that's a heavy duty going between soccer and football back and forth. It's a lot of kicking. And so, no, he was back, and he got cleared, and so he joined the kicking ranks. Reed had been taking all the place kicking duties, and so we were planning on sticking with that, and he was just going to do kickoff, and then Reed got hurt, so he became all kicking duties came to him, and Hunter Tinky had to be our punter, and he did.
And I tell you what, Tinky has came a long way in punting. I mean, he had a couple last night that were nice high, and his distance is starting to get there too. I mean, he I can't remember what, I think it was in the third quarter, he made a punt, it was in the second quarter, and the punt team, the second that the ball dropped, was right there. I mean, it was like perfect timing.
Yeah. That's part of a good punt, is get it nice and high so your coverage can get down there. I think one of them went above the lights a little bit, so that's a heck of a punt. And he has come a long way. It was an emergency punter situation when we lost Reed earlier in the season, due to the Concord game and a disciplinary issue there. And so, Hunter's come a long way for a guy that we have not counted on to be a punter, and he's an athlete. He's got a great leg, and so he did a nice job. So anyway, the score is 41-7. We kick off, and same return formation, and we stop them at the 15 again. That's good for our defense, and then they fumble again. They fumble again on the next series, and we recover, and lo and behold, it's Pike again. He gets the second fumble of the night, and we're on the 27, so very short field. Short run, and then we get a long run about 17 yards, and then Shoemaker to Bontrager pass for a touchdown, and the PAT is good once again. Make the score 41-14. And then we kick off to them again. They get it out to 34 this time, and at this point, it's time to preserve our main players, our varsity players, and let the JV guys get out there and get some action. And so they're out there playing defense, and they fumble again. So almost opposite of the first half, where they are successful on every possession they're scoring, they fumbled 3 possessions in a row. And so this time it was Reese Johnson hopping on it, and we have the ball in decent field position. We have a couple nice runs by Brace, and then a couple nice throws from Keim to center. And then and Keim's gotten some experience earlier this year at quarterback, and so that was good to see. And they finish off the drive with a touchdown by Keim on a run. And the PAT is good, not good, because we had a bad snap. So we got a chance to practice our fire call. Yep, got our fire call in there, and Shoemaker hit Pike on a 2-point conversion. So 41-22. Feel a little bit better about what went on. I mean, obviously we don't feel great about it, but at least we, salvaged something there in the second half, and we played hard the second half, and they were able to basically run out the clock at that point, and the game's over. So,
but silver lining or not, game was in hand. To get some varsity snaps to some of these guys that, one, may be playing next week, and 2, will be playing for you next year, that has got to be invaluable, right?
It is, absolutely. So as tough as it is at the time, down the road, it is very invaluable. It gives them a chance to be on that varsity field, so they have some experience there. And they did a respectable job. They went out there and did what they're supposed to do. And, to be honest with you, they're probably a little bit out-physicaled, because they're sophomores going against seniors kind of deal. but they did a great job. Mishawaka overall as a team is a physically, impressive team. And so to have sophomores have to go out there and go against that. So, you go out there as a sophomore and you go against, the best team in the conference, and you're battling, and that's so valuable for their experience and getting some depth and those kind of things. And so, if we need to, we're going to have to, rely on those guys to come back in again and give us some valuable minutes.
Now, you got a little bit of momentum, too, there at the end, scoring a couple times. What will that do for your offense going into next week?
Well, ending the game on a positive note like that, we have things that work. We just got to execute well, and offense is like a choreographed dance. I've always said that, and you get some missing
your
pieces.
tango partner better be able to.
Yeah, and when you got a new tango partner, sometimes they step on your feet, and so
and talking about Cooper being out. That's one of the things too. Offensive line is a unit. I mean, it's even more than the 11-man unit. The 5-man have to know exactly where they are in spacing and exactly who's going to do what leverage where. And any last thing that changes there is difficult.
Yeah, you got a double team block and you come off of that. It's all timing. It's all trust in the guy next to you. And it's just natural that you have some difficulties when you change that up. I mean, highest level, Notre Dame against Louisville, changing up alignment and it proved to be very difficult and caused a lot of problems up front. And so when you got an aggressive defense like Mishawaka that are just coming downhill the whole time, you can see there was, several tackles for losses. Now, one area that the offensive line did a really nice job, I thought, was offensive pass protection.
Yes, very much so. And Weston DeLong and Hunter Kunish last night, I mean, multiple times were out there setting edge and giving time. And we were talking up in the booth. I mean, as a lineman, that is already difficult. You're running out. You're in space. And for us big guys, we don't exactly run well. So to get them out in front and really set the edge, that was really impressive to see. Yeah,
Morrison, Peschel, Hatfield, and then the two that you just mentioned did a really nice job in pass protection. So Shoemaker, as far as just straight drop back, he didn't have much pressure. He had a chance to look over, a couple reads, and so that was good. That was a positive. Considering the conditions, Shoemaker did a nice job of throwing the football, considering, how wet and nasty it was. I don't think he had too many passes where it slipped out of his hands or that kind of thing. And I thought he executed the offense pretty well when he had the chance. He didn't make any glaring mistakes, and so he had a decent night. It's hard to come up with a lot of positives on a night like last night, but there were a few. Our playmakers are our playmakers. Hunter Tinkey is definitely a guy that guides the boat a little bit. But overall. For offensively, we had some positive things into the game, and you want to build upon that. What we do is what we do. It's how we execute it, and so hopefully we get some guys back this week, and we're at home, and we want to be, hyped up again and focused again, and be that team that the last 3-4 weeks have come out and
kind of surprised people.
Yeah, and it's nice to have a lot of people talking about Wawasee football in a positive way, and I think the kids also realize we can play at that level, and we can be in games with the best of the best in the conference and really Northern Indiana, and so if we can go toe-to-toe with those guys, we can go toe-to-toe with anybody, and so I think the kids are pretty positive about our draw. Riley's a 8-1 team, but you look at strength of schedule and things like that. I mean, we're not afraid of that, and we've gone against teams like that with that kind of record, and so I think the kids are excited. They're excited to be at home. They're excited to be playing for one of our goals for the season, which is to win a sectional game and actually, make a deep penetration in the sectional and play for the championship.
Well, that ends our discussion about our game last night against Mishawaka. And like Coach said, next week at home, come support these Warriors. In our next segment, we will talk to Braden Pike and Cooper Garden, and then we will finish up our last segment with our discussion on South Bend Riley. This is the Coach's Corner Football Show with Coach John Reutebuch on 93.7 FM The Mix. Welcome back to the Coach's Corner Football Show with Coach John Reutebuch on 93.7 FM The Mix. Now, Coach, we have a very special player joining us this morning, and Mr. Braden Pike. Good morning.
Morning.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Your grade level, your positions you play.
I'm a junior, outside linebacker, free safety, and receiver.
Yeah, he's moved around quite a bit on defense wherever we need him and need to plug him in. So he's flexible that way. And then tell us about your family. You got to introduce your family too.
I live with my grandparents, Annette and Doug Wietrick. They've been supporting me throughout my whole football career.
And other sports you play?
Definitely track and basketball maybe this year. I've been playing basketball basically my whole life.
Yeah, and I actually got the privilege to coach you in two different sports and that, and I got to say, for athleticism, there's very few players that I got to coach that can match your athleticism.
Yeah, he 3-sport athlete, and that takes a lot of time and effort, and he's worked very hard to get his body where it is, and worked very hard to be the player that he is. He's a key component on our team on both sides of the ball, and I'm going to let him talk a little bit. Go ahead and shoot some questions at him.
Yeah, so you are a junior, but you're looking forward to next week, and luckily it's not your final game. What can you say to your team this week to help them, understand the moment that some of these seniors may be going through?
We just gotta try and put ourselves in like the senior shoes. Like, what if it was your last game? We played them at Riley. We loved playing them at Riley. It was always a fun time, and it was also physical, and it was just like great competition. And we're glad we drew them. We want a rematch against them, and we want to play them in the regular season.
So we went against Riley. He's referring to as Manchester camp.
Okay. So you guys have seen each other.
We've
before.
seen each other, and we've interacted with their kids and their coaches, and good group of guys, and a great competition. So our kids know their opponent, even though it's somebody we don't play during the regular season. They know who we're going against, and we're excited for the opportunity.
So, seeing each other, you said they're physical. What does that mean, for the common football fan? Football just seems physical. What does that mean in preparation this week?
We just got to go to the whistle. We cannot back down. We cannot take plays off. We got to go 100%.
Yeah. Also with this week's level of practice, we're going to have to pick it up, as far as energy level and goes. I think we'll do that. I think the kids are excited about this first round game. And what would you say, as far as the team this year as a whole, how the guys interact with each other?
The junior senior class really connect well with each other. I think we all think we're a family. We had a couple of juniors and sophomores playing from JV yesterday. I feel like we didn't play bad with them. They stepped up really well. And it's just a better environment than last year's team.
And I can say, I was fortunate that when I played, I knew that the gentleman above me and below me, and that just helps kind of bring together the team and really help center focus the team's goals. Braden, you've kind of had this reputation this year of being a boundary wide receiver too. And throughout the year, there has been times where you have gone up and got that ball. How does that kind of help spark and bring that, team camaraderie together?
It just gets the energy going with everybody. That's what people expect out of us, and it gets the crowd hype, sidelines hype. It gets a lot of momentum going. Just like at the Warsaw game, we were clicking pretty well.
Yeah, we got some playmakers. And if we can get them the ball, it really gets everybody hyped and excited, and we build off of that momentum. So last night's game, you had a couple fumble recoveries. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, the first one, they just put the ball on the ground, and it just came right to me. And the second one, there was everybody diving on it, and it just came to me.
Have you ever had a game where you had 2 fumble recoveries?
Nope.
That was kind of unusual for you, wasn't it? You had a pretty decent game defensively. Talk about the challenges of Mishawaka's offense.
Oh, Mishawaka, they just want to bury you into the ground. They want to be more physical than you. They want to manhandle you. They're just trying to bully you.
And let's talk about the conditions last night.
It was a mud fest. It was a little slippery out there, especially in the third and fourth quarter. It was just all sliding around, and the ball was caked with mud, and it was.
Yeah, Riley and I were talking about it up in the booth, and we were sitting up there and we were getting cold, and we actually had to end up putting our jackets back on, and then we're sitting there, we're like, if anyone actually saw us down there, they might be a little upset with us.
Talk about the difference between playing on their field as opposed to playing on your home field, what you get a chance to do in the sectional opener.
Playing on their field, it was rough, windy weather, and we don't know what this Friday is going to be, but I know the field will not be that slick. And since we have nice artificial turf, I'm confident that we'll not be sliding around and use that as an excuse the reason why we lost.
Okay, good.
So what is one thing that you want to your team to be known for this week?
I want us to be known for the team that you can never count out. Our record doesn't show the way we play. We played really good teams. South and Riley played really good teams, not as good as us, but I still think they're a decent football team. But I think we can be better.
We feel like our conference prepares us for the playoffs, and that's been one of our goals all season long. Is when we're building for sectional, and when we get to the sectional, it's time to win some football games, and it sharpens us as the season goes on to go against the Warsaws, the Northwoods, the Northridges, the Mishawakas. And so and kudos to Riley with their record going this year, but we feel like, we can go toe-to-toe with anybody in a conference. We can surely go toe-to-toe with Riley.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Braden. Now let's go to our second interview, Cooper Garden. And welcome to the booth, Cooper. Now, Cooper, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Cooper Garden. I'm a junior in high school. I've grown up around this program. I'm happy to play for them and be on the show with you.
What position?
I play center, and I'm also the nose guard.
And I got to say, as a former center, it's the best position in football, right?
Oh, yeah. It's very fun. It's the most challenging, and it's also really fun to be a leader for your team.
And you get to touch the ball. You get to be the one that, kind of.
He starts every play.
I mean,
exactly.
It's kind of the specialty lineman. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So, Coop, talk about we didn't have you last night. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I just got off my concussion protocol. I was super happy to be back, and I was on the scout team, and I was given one thing we like to do at Wawasee is give everyone a good look. So I was playing my heart out, and I ended up getting hurt, and unfortunately, it took me out for this Friday game.
We're hoping to get him back here for this next Friday. Coop, let's talk about the season so far, which you've been a big part of until last weekend. So how do you think things are going, and how do you think the team is coming together?
I think we're looking really good. It's just, the record says something, but the way we play says something else, and that really means something special to me, at least, because especially that Concord game, we get beat 52-0, but we flush it away and we come back the next two games and fight to the end.
That was kind of like hitting rock bottom, and we used that as motivation in the next several games. And I've been asked by many people, like, what did you say or what did you do? And I said, well, there's only two things that can happen out of that. You either dig yourself out and you try harder, or you stay at the bottom. And, we got the kind of personalities on our team that, didn't want to stay at the bottom and wanted to make a difference. And so it is being noticed all around. People are talking positively about Wawasee football, and it's not about just wins and losses. It's about the way we play. And we've established, we've talked about after that Northridge game, we've established a new level of play, and we don't want to go back from that. So what does that mean for you, Coop, as far as the level of play and what you can do from your position?
I think just we did pick up the atmosphere, and just individual people playing their heart out. Just everyone sees that, and they want to keep that same energy. And so I think that's the main reason we've been performing so well, is just individual people picking everyone up, and it's a total mood changer.
And it's one of those things too that when you see your teammate kind of make a play or take the step, it kind of makes you want to follow him some more. And for a center, you've done really well at being that leader on the line. What obviously you're injured and hoping to come back. What can you tell to your offensive line to say, hey, we have got to be a unit for next week?
Yeah, next week. I mean, obviously we had a pretty rough game last night, but we've been known for flushing games away, and I think we're gonna go ahead and do that. And me being back, I feel like is a total changes how we play, because they trust me, so they don't have to worry about my job, and they can go ahead and do their job.
Yeah, and it's one of those things we were talking about that exact thing in the last segment of, you lose a key player, especially at center. The offensive line is like a 5-man unit. There's 11 men on the field, but really those 5 have to be lockstep, and you have to know exactly what release, what leverage each one's doing, and missing that is huge.
Yeah, one thing that this program really hits is selflessness. That's the motto that us linemen go by. We don't care about who makes the plays. We care about what we're doing and how we're doing it, and we want to see our team succeed more than we want to see ourselves succeed.
Now, we jumped over this a little bit, Coach, but we probably should let him give a little shout-out to his family as well.
Yeah,
Tell us a little bit about your family.
I was thinking the same thing when we did the introduction. Usually we have you talk about your family, and we missed that. So introduce your family and give a shout-out to Mom, right?
Yeah, all right. Hey, Mom, if you're hearing this in Florida right now, I live with my mom and dad. I have three other siblings, 1 sister, 2 brothers. My oldest brother played all the way up to his freshman year, and I've really looked up to him, but now I've had to step in his shoes and take over a little bit. And then I also have a little brother in Pee Wee right now. He's kind of struggling, but he wants to get better every play. And then my sister's just a swimmer by heart.
Just a swimmer?
No.
Because you took a stab at swimming last year. Did you learn a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think it really. I love this swim team and their atmosphere. They're the first ones to pick you up, and it's awesome to be around. And that's what I also want to kind of spread to this football team. I also want to give a shout out to my sister, because she is one of the fastest kids in the cross country around the Wawasee district.
Okay, very good. I think you did a pretty good job of pointing out your family and their traits. And swimming's hard work, isn't it?
It is. It'll really break you down, but you feel good in the end, and it also builds up your mentality and to be able to push through things.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Well, what would you like to tell your team going into sectionals next week?
We've been in this situation before, especially showing with Concord. That was a tough game, but we were able to capitalize off that loss and carry it into our next week. And I feel like we're going to do the same this week. We just got to keep our heads up and the energy level the same as our heads.
Agreed. Well, when we get back, we will talk about next week's game, sectional game 1 against South Bend Riley. This is the Coach's Corner Football Show on 93.7 FM, The Mix. Welcome back to the Coach's Corner Football Show with Coach John Reutebuch on 93.7 FM, The Mix. Now, Coach, we've talked about last night. We've had some great interviewers. Now let's shift our focus to next week. Sectional round 1, game at Wawasee at 7 p.m. against South Bend Riley. What can you tell me about South Bend Riley?
Well, I know from our dealings with them at Manchester in our scrimmages, high energy, great coaching staff, also high energy. They play as a reflection of their coaches. This is the second year under their head coach, and he has them trending in the right direction as far as their effort and their play. And I think they had a winning record last year, and this year they're 8-1. Defensively, I haven't got into a huge amount of tape, but I've had enough to look at them, and they look like they fly to the football well. We're going to see an even front, which we haven't seen since the Goshen game, and so that'll take some coaching. And offensively, they have some interesting formations, some spread concepts, but they also run the ball, run some power and some ISO and things like that, but also will air it out. So we're going to have to defend the pass well. We have a pretty good team, coming to Wawasee next Friday night on our home turf. But it's been on our goal list all season long is to win in the sectional and build to this point. And we feel like our schedule's prepared us for that. Our record's not great, but that just indicates how strong our schedule is. The 2 out-of-conference teams we play finished the season last night undefeated, conference champs. And then, of course, the NLC speaks for itself. You got to bring it every night. We have several ranked teams in the top of our conference, and we've faced the 4 top teams in the last 4 weeks. And so, we've gone toe-to-toe with some of the best. And we feel like that's prepared us for this moment.
And that helps you bring, that level of physicality, too, that you need to bring into a sectional game.
Yes. The grind it out, they're going to get some plays, but it's next play and, keep working hard and good things eventually will happen. Football can be a game of momentum and get some things going your way. And so, that's got to be our focus, and we got to be, as you heard the players even say, we got to be high energy, and we got to be executing, and we got to work hard, and we do those things, good things happen for us.
Now, Coach, what do you tell your team, and specifically your seniors? They're going into this, and now it's a win or go home type of situation. How do you kind of tell your team and your seniors and say, hey, this is the moment, we need to step up to it?
Well, I mean, if they don't, I think they all are very, very self-aware that it is now a one-game schedule. If you don't win, you don't go on. It's over. And I think we have a group of seniors that don't want it to be over. They love playing football. They played football for a long time together. They're a close-knit group. They're a close-knit group with the rest of the team. I think they're well respected. And, they're a huge part of why our kids are playing at the level that they are. They've won in the past as middle school and freshman players. And so I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think they're going to be motivated. They were excited when the draw came out, number one, to be at home. And number 2, to be going against a familiar foe. Even though we don't play them during the regular season, we've gone against them in the summertime. And so I think we're in good hands with the senior group.
So, Coach, you said it was at home. What do you want to say to the fans in this community about coming out this week?
You won't be disappointed. Our kids are going to compete hard, and I think people that have come to our games this year see that. You won't be bored. There'll be a lot of excitement, hopefully the weather cooperates a little bit. But come out and support your high school football team. You got a bunch of fine young men that have worked their tails off and dedicated themselves since well, really since last season, in the weight room, in the off season, playing other sports, working hard all summer, working out, scrimmaging and going to camps and things like that. And then, trying to put out the best representative of Wawasee out there on a Friday night. And that's not just wins and losses. That's how you conduct yourself and how hard you play. And I think these guys have done that. We're ready to kick that door in, though. We're ready to get over the top on that and put some wins together as well. And so we're hoping that starts with our first round sectional game against South Bend Riley.
Now, what goes into preparation this week? Is there any changes to it, or is it just kind of, the next week in the schedule?
I don't know that there's any changes in it. This point of the season, you're focused a lot more on schemes and what you're going to do. You still do some fundamental work, but you've been doing that all summer and all season, and so it's a little more refined at this point. And when you're playing a team that you don't play, your extra attention to detail needs to be there because there's not really a lot of familiarity with them, and so that's what goes into practice. This week we have the unusual situation of it's fall break, and so there's no school this week, and so that's out of routine.
I forgot that it was fall break this week.
Yeah, and this is the second year we've had a full week of fall break. It used to be just a long weekend, Friday, Monday, and it presents some extra challenges.
And I'm sure 16 to 18-year-old men are making great decisions on the week that they don't have to get up and they can eat junk food.
So that's some of the things that you have to deal with when you have a whole week off of no school. You talk to your kids about. You can't sleep until 1 o'clock, and you can't stay up all night because you don't have to get up, in the morning. And you got to try to keep your same routine as much as possible. And so we keep practice at the same time. We keep our routine the same as it has been all season long and try to keep them focused that way. In some ways it's good because there's not as much distraction, what happened in class that day, or I got this test coming up, or those kind of things. But in other ways, anytime you take somebody out of their routine, it can affect you adversely. Now, last year we did a pretty good job with it. I felt like we had a good week. The weather wasn't very cooperative. I remember we were shoveling snow off the field at the beginning of the week. And
that's what I was actually just thinking about that last night.
Yeah. So hopefully we don't have that. It doesn't look like we're going to have that this coming week. It actually looks like a pretty good week of weather for practice. And so we're going to need to come out very, very focused and have great energy. And then hopefully Friday night we got a lot of our fans and parents out in the stands, and we can bring home the victory in that first round.
What final message would you like to share to your team?
I would say, play it like your last game because it could be, and I don't want it to end. I love this group. And, we've come a long way in the season. And like I said, it's really nice to have, a lot of talk about Wawasee football being very positive. My staff has worked very hard in trying to get us to this point. I've worked very hard to try to get us up from where we were, building the program, from Pee Wee to middle school to freshman to JV and varsity. We got to keep plugging away, and we got to keep working hard and, get guys playing hard, and good things will happen eventually. But, you just don't step in and turn things around in 1 or 2 years. They call it a program for a reason, and it's program building, and it starts from the bottom up. And so it takes a while. And I think the kids that we have now have bought into that and worked extremely hard and made a lot of sacrifices, and we need to recognize that. And it's not always about the record. It's about what kind of team you put out there. And one of my goals was to put a team out there the community could be proud of. And I think I think most people can be proud of this team this year and how they
mission
performed.
Successful for me at least.
Yeah. And so, we're going to go out there and give our best. And, I feel like if we put our best out on the field, the results will take care of themselves.
I agree. So don't forget to come out and support these Warriors. Sectional Round 1 this upcoming Friday at Wawasee High School against South Bend Riley. Game will start at 7 p.m. Our coverage will start at 6:30. That is a wrap for this week's Coach's Corner football show with Coach John Reutebuch. Join us next Saturday and catch up on previous Coach's Corner shows on demand at YouTube or on YouTube at CPG-TV. This has been the Coach's Corner football show on 93.7 FM The Mix.